So most of them they have joined already. 64 students are there. Another 1, 2 they may join. So we'll start the class. So the unit 2, whatever you are discussing, and whatever you have discussed so far, a simple plotting with a PyLab we have already completed. A few more seconds, just we'll glance what we have covered so far, how much is left in the unit 2, then we'll start today's class. So that other 2-3 students are also will join within the minute or two. So the last bit of this unit, an introduction to the object-oriented programming, we are going to discuss. Actually, that itself is one subject, object-oriented programming. I think even it was there for you C++, OOPS, but along with that Python was there. Most of you have chosen the Python, and even you can have a separate subject for OOPS. So, but we have not a one chapter, one subtopic in a one chapter we are going to discuss. A little time we are going to spend on the OOPS concept, very less, but those who are interested, even they can study in depth using a Python OOPS concept. Let us start today's class. A structured programming is basically having a procedural and object oriented, and already I had discussed procedural programming. We have written the functions, I mean to say subroutine, and object oriented programming is a method of structuring a program by bundling related properties and behaviors into individual objects. And you might have heard, you may be knowing, C++ and Java supports object-oriented programming. Basically, we say C++ and Java are object-oriented programming languages. Take a few seconds, read it, or if you want, you can copy down 1 or 2 lines. Just spend another 30 seconds on this. Read twice or thrice. Now, we are going to touch a little bit on object-oriented. So far I have discussed the procedural. Now, both are supported by a Python. You can use both whenever you are writing your own code. A C++ Java is a object-oriented programming. Now, a little theory is there in the beginning. A few slides, 2-3 slides. Then we'll start with the example. An object is created from a blueprint called as class, which dictates its behavior by defining its attributes and method. So we are going to discuss a class with one example. What is the meaning of attribute? What is the meaning of method? How we can class can have attribute. Some examples we are going to discuss in today's class. And when a class is defined, only the description for the object is defined. This is very, very important. One line. Therefore, no memory or storage is allocated. When I define a class, it will not take any memory. This is one line which you have to remember. There are 4 major principles of object-oriented programming, and the way Python deals with them we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. Some of the points we have already covered in our previous discussion. Some we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. Read it twice or thrice. Simply defining the class will not take a memory. When you declare, definitely it will take a memory, and simply defining some class will not take any memory. This is one line which you have to remember. And class which is having attributes we are having in that, and some methods will be there in the class. Or you can say it's a blueprint for any object. So some sample examples we'll see in this particular subtopic. So basically there are 4 major principles of object-oriented programming. So those you can note down. So one is the encapsulation, data abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance. So read it twice, thrice, at least you will remember the words. One, I think encapsulation, one we have discussed. Let's just try to recall which one we have discussed earlier. encapsulation, data abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance. So anybody is remembering among those four one we have discussed already. Can you type that in the chat box? Can you recall which one you have discussed? Very good, Jyoti, Goprappa, thank you, Nidhi, Ganesh, all are remembering and they are recalling within a short time. That is very important. Sanjana, Aishwarya, Kruti, Rahul, we have discussed. Can you name that example? What was the function name? Lakshmi Priya, Sindhu, Rohan, Amit, Jyoti. Very good, Jyoti. ABS, Pavitra, Akshay, Arfali. Okay, Absolute, Jnanashri. Thank you. Most of them they have recalled. Polymorphism we have discussed earlier. One simplest example, absolute we have taken, which will behave differently for different input, but the function is same. So which we have discussed earlier. Thanks for your feedback in the chat box. Meaning of these four I will show you in the next slide. You can copy down or you can read it twice or thrice. The polymorphism is the process of using an operator or maybe a function in different ways for different data input. Similarly, encapsulation hides the implementation details of the class from other objects. Inheritance is a way to form a new class using classes that have already been defined, which are going to do in this class. Data abstraction and encapsulation are synonymous as data abstraction is achieved through encapsulation. Take 1 minute. I want you people to copy down because these four words are very important whenever you are talking about object oriented programming. Four words are very important, and polymorphism we have discussed once. Encapsulation, inheritance we are going to discuss in this particular subtopic. A little time, 1 or 2 programs we'll try to discuss, but actually it itself is a one subject, not even chapter, one subject. But even it's not given one chapter completely, one subtopic is given in this syllabus. So how much is needed, that much we'll discuss. Then we will switch out to the next subtopic. So I'll give 1 minute. So please read it twice or copy down so that you'll remember. Many times we ask you to write. Reason is you can remember for longer time. Writing once is equal to reading 10 times. I usually tell in my class, have a habit of writing, because writing once is equivalent to reading 10 times. So just have a habit of writing, preparing the notes, rewriting it, so that when you are writing you will do reading also parallelly. Without reading you cannot write. So writing is more effective than simply reading it. So these four words, just try to, in summary I am telling you the meaning of those. Take another few seconds and try to complete reading or writing. Then we'll go to the next slide. Marks, I will talk to the head of the department, and if they ask us to post in the blog or in the classroom, I will take a snapshot of all those marks what I have written in the paper. I will upload. Anybody has shown you the already marks? Any subject? No. Okay. Anyway, I will talk to the head of the department. I will try to display or show in the post in the classroom or a blog.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Management. Me means okay. Me means management and IPR. Okay. Shown. Okay. Means who is handling that? Keru sir, maybe Miskin sir. Somebody. Miskin sir might have shown. Okay. Priyanka Khode. Priyanka Khode, your name is, I don't know, A division or B division, somewhere it is missing. Some students' name are missing. It's the last class I told. I think somebody has called me and talked. I think some other name is missing. I don't know. Maybe Priyanka Khode. Anyway, we'll talk to you later after the class. Let us go to the next now. 2-3 slides are little theory. Even if you do not understand, no problem, because we are going to discuss with example. but we cannot go directly to the example without discussing a little theory. So that's why these some points are shown to you people. Data structure are structures which can hold some data together. And a list, which we have already discussed, is a data structure that holds an ordered collection of items. All of you know these things. Once you have created a list, you can add, you can remove, you can search for an item in the list. This you have done, you have written programs also for this, and built-in functions are available. Variable I, if you assigned a value 5, it is creating an object I of a class type int basically. A class can also have a method, we call that as a function. You can write a function for a particular class. No doubt we are going to discuss with example in today's class. And defined for a use with respect to that class only. You cannot use that function in general for some other work. Only for that class you can use it. Take 1 minute, just glance once, read it. Some of the things you may be knowing, it may be a revision. Just read it once so that you can recollect what you know, you can recall. And next slides will become easy to understand. A list is a data structure that holds an ordered collection of items, and a lot of operations are done. You can add or you can remove or you can search an items in the list. And a class can have its own methods like a functions defined for use with respect to that class only. That is very important. We have discussed the function in general. But now functions are for that particular class, not general. That's the one point which you have to remember. So let us go to the next. Yeah. So hope all of you remember append method for a list class, which allows you to add an item at the end of the list. We have done it already. Appending you have done. MyList.append, for example, will add that string to the list MyList. So this you have done, and one important point which you have to remember is dot notation is used for accessing methods of the objects. This dot we are going to use with example we are going to discuss in today's class. A class can also have a fields which are nothing but variables defined for user with respect to that class only. This is one important point which you have to remember. So like a function is having one variable, only that function can use. Like that a class can have a variable, only in that class I can use it. Take a minute, read it. If you want you can copy down, at least a dot notation is used for accessing methods of the objects. And class is having some variables. No doubt it is having some functions. And those are for that particular class, not in general. We have discussed already functions in general, and now we are going to talk about functions for a particular class. So let me wait for another few seconds. Then we'll go to the another ones or two slides. We may have a little theory. Then we take an example. Then we start a discussion with an example. So everything in the Python is basically an object. For example, even we have discussed the string. Python string is an instance of a str class. We have discussed, and even there we have discussed the methods. Even I1, most of you have written the methods. Many are there. Those you can recall now also. Even though you have written recently, it's easy to recall. So a lot of methods are there. So like that, for every class we can have some functions. Some methods we can have for each and every class. So those we are going to discuss with example in this particular subtopic. Take another 20 to 30 seconds. Just read it once, so that we can take one example and how to create an object, how to create a class. Those things with example we are going to discuss in today's class. Okay, let us go to the next. Object and class. Take one bank, a retail bank deals with the people who have bank accounts, and I have a bank account as a class which is having a lot of attributes. What are the attributes, sir? I have account number, I have balance, etc. And customer class related some attributes are a name of a customer, address of a customer, date of birth of a customer. Just go through and note down bank account one class which is having attributes, copy down, such as account number, balance, etc. Customer class we can have like a name of a customer, address, a date of birth, etc. And today we will try to discuss a class, subclass, how to create an object, and how to have functions which will work only for that particular class, not general. Those things we are going to discuss in today's class. And this bank example is given in the textbook, the same example we are taking. You can have a general example also. But first we will discuss as it is in the book. If time permits, we will try to discuss in general. Okay, let me go to the next slide. Yeah. So bank account, this is one class. It is having account number, balance, customer, say deposit, withdraw, balance, etc., check balance, etc. Now, I have a saving account as a subclass, or you can say as using this bank account as a base. I am creating another as a saving account, and one have a current account. Base will remain same. Every current account will be having the account number, balance, etc. But along with that, some additional methods are additional variables will be there. So please try to understand, for savings account, for current accounts, bank account is a base. And hope all of you know the two accounts will be there. Whenever you are withdrawing some amount from the ATM, so it will ask, are you withdrawing from your saving account, SB account, or current account? Most of us will be having the savings account. What is the current account? Anybody knows about the current accounts? Anybody is having current account in this class? How it differs from saving account? Can you type or tell? Any one of you? Both are same? No, it will ask in the ATM whenever you are withdrawing the money. Saving accounts is different. Current account. Business people, they maintain this current account. As salaried people, usually they go for savings account. Very good. Nidhi has typed current account used for business purpose. Very good. Nidhi, Amit, Kirti, it is true. Current account is for business people. Whenever you are withdrawing some amount from the ATM, it will ask, are you withdrawing from SB account or current account, something like that, it will ask. And now savings account as well as a current account inherit methods and attributes from the bank account. All these, whatever you have declared for the bank account, will be taken for a savings account also. But savings account will have some additional, you can say, methods, variables. For example, interest rate is there for savings account. For current account, they won't give any interest. This will be known to the person, those who are having a current account. Bank will not give any interest rate. So like that, some differences will be there, and base is same, bank account. Account number will be there, both. Balance will be there for both. Like that, some basic information will be there. This will be taken, we can say, current account and savings account inherit methods and attributes from the bank account. Take a 1 minute, copy down this in your notebook, so that later, whenever I show the slide, it will be useful to you. You can refer this and you can understand. Savings account and current account inherit methods and attributes from the bank account. Because savings account is having account number, it is having a customer, deposit, withdraw, check balance, etc. But it's having additional, that's the interest rate, add interest, but current account is not having, but it's having some other annual fee they have to pay, transaction limit, withdraw amount, apply annual fees. These are related to the current account. So let me go to the next. Okay. An important aspect of the object-oriented programming is inheritance. So I have bank account, that is the basic. From that, I am taking information for a subclasses. The bank example, bank account, savings account, current account, etc. All these are I have. Each is derived from the generic base bank account only. We are not maintaining separate information for a SB account or a saving account or a current account. Base is a bank account only. From that, everything is taken. The same line is mentioned here. Bank account classes inherit the properties of the base class, but may also customize, redefine one or more methods, and may also add their own attributes and methods. You have taken an example in the previous slide. In the saving account, you have customized that. Some additionally have put. Even for a current account also, bank account, whatever is there, same thing you have taken, plus additional. Some of the methods you have included. Annual fee, etc. You can refer your notebook where you have copied that particular diagram. So I'll wait for some time, read it twice, thrice. If somebody is recording, it is still good. If somebody is taking a snapshot, also good. If I record, I'll share. Hope now you will be knowing how to record. Even some of the students, they have shared the PPTs, they have taken a snapshot in the MS Word. I don't know, A division or B division, somebody has done. Starting from the first class, they have taken and they might have shared with you. Let me go to the next. Yeah. Base account defines some attributes. You have taken already account number, balance, etc. The subclass saving account adds an attributes and method. You have taken interest rate. One method means a one function, add interest. A subclass current account, it is having adds two attributes. For example, annual fee, transaction limit, and overrides the base withdraw method. So you may have one withdraw here amount, but once again you are having withdraw, but you are overriding this particular base, you are rewriting because this is a current account. Okay, so just if a base class is not to be instantiated itself, you are not using to declare any object or to define any object, then it serves only for a template for the derived classes, then we call that as a abstract class. So just read it, take more than 1 minute, copy down the last line, and please read it, these two lines, these three lines, and diagram I have kept as it is for your reference. When you read this, you can compare the diagram and you can understand. Take 2 minutes and understand. You have a subclass, a savings account. One more subclass, we have a current account. And base account is having some attributes. Additional attributes you are putting in the subclass. And even we are having a methods. I mean to say some functions we are declaring in the subclass also. But a lot of information is taken from the base account. I'll give you another 1 minute. So just go through, understand, so that we can go to the coding part. So take another few seconds and go through. Then we will try to discuss the coding part. For this, how to declare the class, how to create the object, and how to write the functions for a particular class, how to call it. One simple example is given in the book. The same example we will take and we will try to discuss. Okay. So before I go to the next slide, let me ask you some question. Anybody has heard docstring? Docstring, somewhere we have used. Have we discussed somewhere? Anybody can type. Okay. Where do you use? Only one student is telling. Dhanashree, Jyoti. Yes, only 2 students are telling out of 63. So strange. Yeah, Dhanashree, what you told is correct. That is a present generation. They won't read at all. Recently I completed your IA because it was an open book test. Most of the students, without knowing, also they have scored good marks. But remember, marks will never come into picture. Nobody will recruit you purely based on your marks. Remember, marks are needed just for the beginning. And most of the students, they think that if they got a job, it's the end of their life or end of it. Throughout life, they can continue the same job. Remember, in your final year, usually I will not be there with you people. I won't handle for higher semesters. If you get placed in the beginning also, don't become so happy. Even if you won't get placed in during recruitment, campus placement, never feel bad. Why I am telling now only because I may not take any subjects for higher semesters. Usually I am seeing most of the students 2-3 things. One is they usually fight with their project mate. The second is during the placement, sometimes they may not get a job. That may not be a great problem for them. Somebody is getting a job. Those who are very weak to them, they feel very bad. Sir, I am not getting a job, that is not a problem, but I used to teach to this boy or girl. He or she got a job. Actually, I taught them. Yeah, it may happen with anybody. So please remember these words. Now you may take it so lightly, but recall when you are in final year, because these words are very important. And after some years, no doubt whatever you deserve, you will get. For example, if you have got in very good company, you are not deserving that, definitely you will leave that job, otherwise you lose that job. If you have got or you can say you didn't get placed in the online or whatever you are during campus, you will get a good job. I can share such examples when you come to the college later. And now let us go to the next. I think at least 2 students, they are told the answer, Dhanashree and Jyoti. For example, these may not be the toppers in the class, but it doesn't mean they won't get a job. Knowledge is also very important rather than the marks, because seeing your knowledge, they will give the job. Even if your percentage is very low, if you are really having a knowledge, I will assure that you will get a job somewhere based on your knowledge, whether you are in fundamentally strong, whether your programming is strong. Based on that, you will get somewhere job. Okay, anyway, it's my duty. Let us go to the next slide. Defining and using a class in the Python. Okay, it has become slow. Let me press one more, it will go fast. A class is defined using the class keyword. Just remember, I use a keyword class to define the class. And it's a good idea to have a docstring. Just now I asked a docstring. Reason is, in this chapter, whenever we write a function, it's a method, we use a docstring describing what it is that particular class does. Even for the functions, we write in a docstring. what that function does. To know that, we usually write a docstring. And class methods are defined using the familiar def keyword, which you have used already to write functions. But the first argument to each method should be a variable named self. And most of the textbook, most of the website, you find this self. This name is used to refer to the object itself when it wants to call its own methods or refer to attributes, as we are all going to see that in the next programming part. So take a 1 minute, read it, understand it. We use a docstring to describe the class, the way how we used to do for the functions. And we use a def docstring, and we use another word self. At least these three words you have to take from this particular slide. And try to have a good relation with the teachers, because now I am seeing, not only now, every year I see, after 3-4 years the students will come back to the college because they want to do higher studies. They ask, sir, give the letter of recommendation. Now only I am telling you, if you have worked with me, if I am happy with you, if I have worked with you, together you have done some work, then only you can ask me the letter of recommendation. And if you have maintained the relation, if you have maintained the contact at least yearly once, if you have talked to each other, if you have shared your progress, what you have done. Suddenly if you come after 4 years and if you say, sir, I am doing my MS, give me the LOR, even I will not be remembering you. So do something such that your resume should have my name or any teacher name, the teacher resume should have your name. So that definitely when they give the letter of recommendation, it will be having a weightage. Otherwise, it will not be having more weightage. Some papers we have done together, if the same teacher is giving the recommendation, definitely that university will believe, yeah, they have done work together, they have published some papers, they have done a project, they have done some work together. Then only there will be meaning for that letter of recommendation. And anyway, let me go to the next slide. Okay. Example, whatever I have discussed just now, a bank account. For that only a code is I am going to share from the textbook. So this is a code and this is a file name, bankaccount.py. Class name is a bank account. A docstring just now I told what it does. A abstract base class representing a bank account, and the currency using a dollar. I'm defining, I'm using this, initializing this. What it is having a self, I use a word so that I can refer itself. Customer, account number, balance. Initially I'm initializing 0 because you should not take some random number which is dangerous for a bank example. In some other cases it doesn't matter. If you do not initialize also okay. But for bank, if you take a random number, it's a dangerous. That much of amount the bank has to pay to the customer. So in some cases, this initialization is very important. Balance equal to 0. In the beginning only I am writing in this particular example. Again, docstring I am using. What this does, initialize the bank account class with a customer, account number and opening balance, which is initialized to 0. By default, it should be 0 in the beginning. Then using the same self, I am declaring self.customer equal to customer so that I can use directly the customer. Self.account number equal to account number so that I can use account number in my programming. Similarly, self.balance equal to balance. Just take a 1 minute, copy down this part of a program. So another one slide is there. That also you can copy down, try to understand. Take a bank account bank underscore account dot py. In that I have a class. What is the name of the class? Bank account. A doc string is given so that you'll get information about that. What is that bank account? And again I am defining its properties. Customer account number, opening balance, take another few seconds, try to read it, understand it. At a time when you see the program, it looks big, you may feel uncomfortable, but when you see a few lines at a time, it will be easy to understand. So then we'll go to the next slide. Let us go to the next slide. A part of a program is there in the second slide also. Yeah, what I'm doing here, deposit, it's one method. Self comma amount, how much I'm depositing. What this function does, deposit amount into the bank account. If an amount is greater than 0, then self dot balance should become equal to self dot balance plus amount whatever I am depositing. Otherwise, if it is not greater than 0, then a message should be given. Print invalid deposit amount if you are given the minus or 0. So message will be given to the user. This is about a deposit. Similarly, one more we have a method withdraw. Self, again for this also amount. What is this? I am writing withdraw the amount from the bank account, ensuring there are sufficient funds. Simply you should not allow them to withdraw unless they have a balance. That I had to check. First I am checking if amount is greater than 0, yes or no. Okay, he is asking some amount. If amount is greater than self dot balance, then it is good. Otherwise, I had to print insufficient fund. Whatever the amount I am taking, if it is greater than the balance, then insufficient funds. Otherwise, I have to make self dot balance equal to self dot balance minus amount. If amount is not greater than 0, what you are withdrawing itself is something negative, then invalid withdrawal, display that amount. Take a 1 minute, copy down and try to understand. Remember, writing is very important. Sometimes you feel irritating to write, but have a practice of writing, because writing is very, very important. Have a practice of writing. We feel bored. Why should I write? That will come in our mind most of the time. But never listen to your mind always. If you listen to the mind always, it's dangerous. Mind should listen to you rather than listening to mind. Function and method. I think we interchangeably use those words. So let me give you another few seconds. A method and function. Yeah, function inside a class is called a method. Mahima, thank you. You have made that sentence. Method, they say, that is a way how we can access, how we can make changes to some of the variables in that particular class. That's the reason they use the word method instead of saying as a function. When I say function, we think in general function. They say method because it is a part of a class. That particular function is used with a particular class. We call that as a method. That's all. Let me go to the next slide. So this is what we have, bank. Okay. To use this simple class, just a minute. To use this simple class, we can save the code defining it as a bank account.py, which are done, and import it into the new program. How to do it? It is given from bank account import bank account. Please observe this bank account, this bank account. This is for your reference from the previous slide. A snapshot I am showing you so that you can understand this particular line. What is the meaning? How I am doing it. This new program can now create a bank account objects, and even it can manipulate. Just take this one line, and this is available in your previous slide. It is there in your notebook. Just you can understand this, why we write like this. When I say this, what will happen, so that a next program you can understand and you can execute this program, and you will understand how control flows, how it executes, how to write your own class, how to use in the programming. You can try those things. This code you can execute. I have already executed. The executed code also I will show you. What I have shown is from the textbook, just I took a snapshot and I have shown to you. Typed is also there. Character size will be more, which is difficult to understand. So I will show you the code which is executed. Their colors will be different so that you can understand easily. So let me go to the next slide. Yeah. Instantiating the object. An instance of the class is created with the syntax object equal to class name followed by arguments. Object should initialize itself by a special method. This is what we use, a special method, which receives any arguments like args we have discussed in our previous discussion. So this is the simplest example how I can declare, how I can create object. See, my account, bank account, I am giving the name, I am giving the account number. So account is opened by creating a bank account object, passing the name of the customer, an account number, optionally an opening balance. By default it is a 0, whether you pass or not. Otherwise, if you want, you can pass comma, some dollars, or in Indian you can some rupees, depending upon the program what you have written. So this is the way how I can create an object. Take a minute, try to understand and copy down at least this example. My account equal to bank account. I have taken a some name, Manjunath. You can write your own name. You can write Kallappa, Mallappa, Basappa, some name. In books they have taken a foreign names. Because I am Indian, I prefer to use some Indian name, a local name, so that everybody can understand. Because sometimes some students may think that is also a function name, because such names will not be there for human beings in our Karnataka or Hubli Dharwad. That's why I have taken a simple name, Manjunatha, everybody knows, because college name itself is a Manjunatheshwara. So I took that name, and number you can give anything. I have given 214572888. There is no need to mug up. You give any number and try to understand how to create the object. Okay, I will wait for another few seconds, then I will go to the program. Okay, let me go to the program. Yeah. The class defines two methods. One is depositing, and another is withdrawing the money. Attributes, we have a self.customer, self.account number, self.balance are a instance variables. And you have a variable currency is a class variable, and both attributes and methods are accessed using a object dot attribute notation only. So one point which you have to remember. Just glance once or twice. Now we have two methods, or somebody told like a functions. We cannot call them as a function because we can use in a particular class. With respect to some class we can use, hence we call as a method. Function within a class we call as a method. I think one of your classmates has told just now in a simple line. And now we have attributes, a customer, account number, balance, and currency. We have a class variable, and attributes and methods are accessed using a object dot attributes notation only. You cannot directly use a customer, you cannot use directly account number, you cannot use just a word balance. You have to use with respect to the object dot attribute notation only. So take another few seconds, then we will go to the next slide. Let us go to the next slide. Okay. Now what I have done in this, hope all of you are remembering this. My account dot account number I am typing in front of this prompt. Simply I will get this number 21457288, and my account dot deposit I am depositing 64, maybe a dollar. Just I am putting a number. Then I am typing my account dot balance. This 64 will come. So just observe this carefully. The first one, account number is displayed. 64 is deposited in the second line, and third line, when you check the balance, you find that whatever you have deposited, 64. You can execute twice, thrice, deposit, give some numbers. At the end, when you say account dot balance, you should get addition of all those. We'll see in the program. It's like a part of a program, a few lines I'm showing you, so that when I show you the program, you should feel comfortable. Take a few more seconds. So let us go to the next slide. This is a program, whatever I have shown you, but now with the colors that was from a textbook. Even typed is also there. This is a typed, but it's an image I have taken from the simulator. The same program, now whatever I have shown you. Now again the docstring is there. For the purpose of that, I am initializing. Again self.customer equal to customer. Just go through once. Nothing change. And deposit taken. And if amount is greater than 0, then only it will take a deposit, otherwise it will show the invalid. Take a minute, just go through, the program is with you, just glance, understand it. 2 slides are there, even you can execute also. A code is there in the book, simply you can execute. Even if time permits, I will share with you. You can use a code and you can execute. Just recall whatever is there in your notebook, just go through, or you can go through this slide, understand. A deposit. Similarly, next slide we have withdraw, and few more additional lines are there. I'll show you that slide, and the result also I'll show you. Even you can execute. make changes in the code, check according to your thinking whether it will work or not. So let me go to the next. Yeah, now this is a withdraw, and if amount is greater than 0 and if amount is greater than balance, then only I will withdraw, otherwise no. Amount is less than balance, then only I will withdraw, otherwise I will give some message. And my account is Manjunath, just I am assigning, print the account number. I am depositing twice. At the end I am printing the total amount, how much it is, balance is how much. I am depositing 55, next time 22. When I print this balance, I am getting a 77. Take a 1 minute and see the code, and this is a output what I got. There are only 2 print statements are there, hence only 2 line output I am getting. Take a few more seconds, try to understand. And just names I have changed compared to the book. Instead of some name, I don't know what name was there, just a name I have changed. A remaining code I have kept. I may have changed the deposit also. And even I have changed some other things which I will show you in the later. If possible today, if a time is not there, I will show you in the next class. Some of the changes I have made. I want you people to make changes and try. Let me see what is there in the next slide, whether we will continue. Yeah, this is a program just to show you the result. Okay, I got a same, just I have typed information I have shown you in the previous slide. Now this is the same thing what I typed in the previous slide. I got a result after executing this program. Try to execute all the programs. I am doing it because I am a student of Python. I want to learn Python. That's why I am executing each and every code, and I am showing you the snapshot so that you will be motivated and you will also execute. I don't have any marks. I won't get any marks, but you people have to get good marks. You need a job. I am sure your effort will be maximum compared to me. When I am executing, nearly I have 80 pages of code, whatever I have executed so far. I am sure somebody will be having more than 100 pages code, because being a teacher I have maintained those many pages codes. You will be having more than 100 pages codes. If somebody is having, I will be happy to see, and even you can share with me. Even I can share my code with you. Whatever I have discussed, all the codes are there with me, and your friends can also make use of that. Now these two, I think, balance, third we'll discuss later. Now we'll try to conclude our class, and if you have any other thing to discuss, you are most welcome.